Hey y'all, I'm here with my buddy Jesse. Asked him to come over and talk to me about the day that he almost died of COVID, but he wiggled out of it somehow. You remember what day that was? Or when that was?
Somewhere in March
of what year?
2021, actually.
2021
Yeah.
of March. Yep, and it's January 2023. I wrote out a couple of questions for you. How do you think you caught COVID? Any idea?
At this new job I started working, I didn't realize I had COVID until I actually went home. Well, no. I was walking around with COVID for a couple of weeks. I lost my appetite on the job. We got a COVID safety person there that requested that I go get a COVID test.
What made him request that you get a COVID test?
Well, she just said I looked like I had the symptoms. Because we were spending some time together. I was in training, be a manager at this work site. And she said I didn't look right in the eyes. I'm not eating like I was eating when I first started working there. So it was her duty to tell me to go get a COVID test if she see any symptoms. So
got the test.
I just thought I was tired, but
Yeah.
I got the COVID test done, came back positive. I still was feeling fine. In my eyes, I was feeling fine. In my mind, went home, sat down, watched television. And as the days went on, I started to lose my strength, my appetite to drink, my appetite to eat. Then I called my doctor over the phone. He did this new thing they got going on now, doing everything online. Told me, so I met him online, appointment online, and he told me to go get some chest x-rays done to see what's going on in the inside before he prescribed me any kind of medication.
Why did he tell you to take chest x-rays?
I think he wanted to know if I had any kind of fluid in my chest or
Were
anything
you breathing?
like that.
Because I remember when I picked you up, you were kind of like struggling to breathe a little. Well, you were coughing and everything.
Yeah. So,
Because I remember you called me. How come you called me?
well,
Because I hadn't
called you.
heard from him. He's my gym buddy until he switched gyms after COVID. But when he called me, I hadn't heard from him in like 3 weeks, and he just called me out of the blue. And why did you call me?
Oh, I needed a ride to the emergency.
Yeah.
My doctor told me to go to the emergency room or a quick care to get some x-rays done.
And when I saw you, I could see why you
Yeah.
needed a ride,
Yeah.
because he scared me, man. When he when he came to the door, because he called and he told me he was coughing on the phone. I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong with you? You sound terrible. And he was, I have COVID. Like, I have COVID. I was like, you got what? He's like, I have COVID, and it scared me because didn't you go to a funeral from one of the guys at the gym?
Yeah, one of my buddies at the gym we worked out with, he passed. A month prior, his grandfather passed, his father passed. They all passed from COVID.
Good grief.
And,
I didn't go to the funeral because I didn't know who you were talking about when you told me you were going to this guy's funeral from the gym that we go to. Man, maybe you could have got it from him. You could have was it a while?
yeah, it's been a while since I
after the
have seen
funeral?
them.
Oh,
Yeah, because everything was shut down. Still. Well,
Man.
they was allowing funerals. I guess it opened back up for funerals. But yeah, I believe I caught it at the new
job?
workplace.
Yeah,
We had
So-
300 some employees there, so
yeah, it could have been anybody. So when I told you that I'd come and get you, first thing that you said was, well, I have COVID. I was like, I don't care. I'm not afraid of any viruses or diseases or anything like that because, I keep my body in a healing condition by the types of foods that I eat or don't eat, right? And so when I saw him when he opened the door, scared me because he was a lot bigger than he is right now. I mean, he's kind of big right now, but he was like swollen. And I saw him, he was like, and he just looked like an old guy. He was all hunched over. And he came,
I look like an old
you
guy.
look like an old dude. You look like you were 80 or something. I mean, like, not a healthy 80 either. It was like, I was just like, oh my gosh. Scared me so much. And I remember I had to assist you walking you to the car. I put his hand on my shoulder because he was like stutter step and he was like, off balance and everything. It was a scary time. And so I remember helped him get into the car, and that's why he called me because there's no way he's going to drive himself to anywhere in that condition. Couldn't hardly walk. So first thing we did was went to
Urgent care.
urgent care. His doctor wanted him to get x-rays to see if he had pneumonia. So even though you told him that you had COVID, right?
Yeah, told him I'm positive.
He wanted to see.
Tested positive COVID.
So he didn't know what to give him. So he's like, well, let's see if you got pneumonia, so maybe I can give you something for that. Anyway, so we go to the first urgent care, and they wouldn't do anything for him. Because the first thing the lady asked, I remember she says, well, have you been tested for COVID, positive or negative? Or have you been tested positive for COVID? And you looked at me, and I said, tell her. And you said, I'm positive for COVID. And all of a sudden, they couldn't see you. Or what was the first one?
Well, they had me wait. Then they told me they couldn't see me.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have anyone in to...
They didn't have
Take
any doctors.
Technicians in to take the x-ray.
Or some crap, right? So he said, well, my insurance will take, this other urgent care. And we drove all the way to the other end of town, to this other place. And they came out and actually got us in and sat us down. And she was, talking to him and everything. And asked him the same question. You have COVID? And you're like, yes, I do. And she goes, she turned around and left, had us sitting in there for a minute, and she came back out, and she said, the doctors are all busy, it'll take a while before we get to you or some crap. Couldn't see us right then, have to come back. So I said, Jesse, they have to accept you at the hospital. We're going to the hospital, screw this, we're going to the hospital. So I took him to emergency. And they didn't even let us inside the hospital. The girl came out, because you go through a door, and then there's another section, and then the door. And she came out, and she had on like a white thing, and she had her mask on, she had gloves on and everything, because they weren't going to let us in, knowing that one of us is infected. And so she looked at me. She said, do you? I said, no, I don't. And so she took off, you had a mask and some gloves on. Mm-hmm. And she said, give me those gloves and that mask. I don't want you to, what did she say, cross-contaminate or something. So she took off his stuff and put him in a hazardous place, waste something, and gave him, I'm going to give you two, she kind of like gave him like a number something kind of mask on and these gloves. I was just like looking at her like, it's like nobody has to be sick if they only knew the truth about healing, and how to keep your body. Because your body is designed to be able to, repel any type of germs. If it does get into the nose or the eyes or any pores of your skin or whatever, if it does get into your body will take it out. If your liver is clean and your kidneys and your lymphatic system, if your body is clean, colon, intestines, everything's clean, it does what it's designed to do, which is to keep you well and to heal you if you're sick. So they went on and did the test, and he didn't have pneumonia. So put his hand on my shoulder, and we walked to the car. helped him get in the car, and I drove him back, and I'm thinking all the way back to his house. And he gets out of the car, and I take him to the house, and he's trying to get the key in the door. And I'm just like, Jesse, go pack a bag, put your clothes, get some change of clothes and some, your toothbrush or whatever, you're coming home with me. And he goes, but I have COVID. I said, don't tell me that again. I know you have COVID. Just get some change of clothes and stuff. You come home with me. And so he said, okay. And I had a mattress in the garage, put that on the floor in this room. And, he laid down. And I just knew I was going to have to go to work. So I canceled all my appointments. And I didn't know I was praying because he was in such bad shape. I didn't know. You told me that. What did you say I said to you when you went and looked in the mirror or something at the house?
Look like I'm dying.
I said that I didn't know I said that to him. But he scared me. I told you look like you're dying.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But he did. He looked bad.
I lost a lot of weight in that short period of time.
Yeah. And you even said that you had a hard time drinking anything, eating or drinking.
Couldn't drink, couldn't eat.
Yeah, because before I left, I looked at him, I said, Jesse, when was the last time you ate anything? 'Cause he was so skinny, so thin. He went from being big and strong to shriveled up like a raisin. And he said, about 2 weeks. I said, you haven't eaten anything for 2 weeks? And he goes, I said, that's when I said, you know what, go get something and you're coming home with me because, if you're not getting any type of nutrition or any help to your body, because your body, if you're poisoning your body, and you're not giving it good nutrition, it's going to reject anything that you're putting in it because it doesn't trust you. That's what we have to be, the ones that take care of ourselves. The inside of our body can't do anything. It's depending on us to take care of it. And so it'll just, you could see an animal in nature, if it's sick, it's going to stop eating, especially meat, and it's just going to eat grass. It's just going to eat vegetation, period, even the meat eaters. And so his body was just like, I don't want anything. And anything, you were telling me that every time you tried to eat, you throw it up. And so I immediately knew the first thing that I needed to do was wake up his vital organs so that they can come alive and fight this virus, because it was all in his body. It takes over. If you don't put nutrition or healing foods or herbs or anything and give the inside of your body a chance to fight whatever it is that's taking over, it's going to, just like cancer. Cancer just like sugar. It's cancer cells will eat sugar and just grow and split, and then they'll grow and they'll split and they'll grow and they'll split and they'll grow, and it just take over the whole body. And the virus that was in his body just completely took over. His body didn't have a chance, So I just immediately started juicing citrus juices, lemons and lime. First I gave him like a glass of citrus grapefruit. As grapefruit has natural quinine in it, which is, it would help boost your immune system. Lemons, limes, all that stuff cuts through any type of mucus or whatever's in the body, and it creates an immediate alkaline environment in the body. And when your body is sick, it's full of acidity, and you would think that lemons are acidic, but once they get into your body, it's amazing how God created everything and how things work. As soon as the lemons or limes or the acidic fruits get into your body, it completely turns into alkalinity, and it alkalines your body. So I wasn't telling him what I was doing. I just, I prayed to God. I said, I was scared because I really didn't want you to die on me in the house because you're so messed up. I was like, I didn't know if I could heal you. I really didn't know, because you were so far gone. I was just like, I just prayed. I said, Father, just tell me what I need to do, and I'll do it. And so, because I didn't want to lose my buddy. I didn't want you dying on me, so I started off with the citrus.
We dying in your house? Huh?
No, man, not here.
Somewhere,
anywhere but here. You know, I brought you here because I figured, you know, I knew some things and I, you know, try on you what I know. And apparently it worked because you're still here. So, but I do remember when I made that glass of citrus juice for you and brought it in here, and I put it on the carpet next to the mattress that you were laying on your sleep. And I said, okay, Jesse, drink this. And you kind of like woke up and you like looked at me and said, I need you to drink this. And you was like, okay. And I left and went back to start making some more stuff. And I came back in the room and the full glass was still on the carpet, still there. You were back to sleep again. I said, why haven't you drank this? And you said, because I'll throw it up. Remember? I said, it's juice, it's not food. And he was telling me that, well, I've been throwing up juice. I can't drink anything. I can't eat or drink anything.
Nope.
You can't live, you can go a while without eating, but you can't get too far without drinking water, at least water.
I guess that's what the COVID does. Take away everything and leave you with nothing.
Yeah. Man, I got mad at you. I was just like, cause I was scared. I'm like, you know, you gotta let me help you. And I remember I said something mean, cause I was scared. I said, what you're not gonna do is you're not gonna die on me. I said, you know, if you're gonna just sit up here and die, you could die at home. I'll take you home, but you're not gonna sit up here and die on me. You know, I didn't bring you here so you can be comfortable and die alone. So you better drink this, you know. I said, wait a minute. And I left and I went and got like a shot glass, a little bitty glass. And I poured the juice in a shot glass. And I set him up. I said, sit up. And he struggled. He got set up. And I went and got one of those things that you could put in on your back and so you could sit up. And gave it to him. And I said, and he said, I remember, he said, well, I'm going to throw it up. I said, I got real close to him. I was so bold. Because I didn't want him to die. I just like right in his face. I said, well, throw it up on me then. I said, throw it up in my face if you want to. And then I'm going to give you some more. You throw that up. And I'm going to give you some more. And you throw that up until your body realizes that you're not poisoning and it trusts you. It'll recognize it as being medicine. So just like sip it through your teeth, just a little bit at a time so that your body, you know, don't dump it down because it will throw it up. But just let it see, you know, from a cellular level what you're putting into it, and it's not alcohol, and it's not flesh, and it's not McDonald's, and it's not. What did you eat today?
Okay, I had a bean burrito and chicken burrito from Taco Bell.
Oh my God. He's coming over. He says, I'm stopping. I need to get something to eat. I'm stopping by Taco Bell. And I didn't even hear that he said he was stopping by Taco Bell. I said, no, I just made myself some breakfast. And he said, okay. And then he hung up the phone. I said, did he say Taco Bell? He knew better to ask me if I wanted something from there. I was like, this guy. Oh my gosh. I was thinking, you know, because he said he was hungry. And I was like, well, you don't want to be on camera hungry. So yeah, he's like, you said you were in the parking lot of what? Of a store?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I was thinking you were going to go in and get something healthy from the store, like
some fruit.
Like fruit or
I should have,
or something, or at least drive to Sprouts, even though it was way out of the way. I don't know where you were.
Sometimes I cheat and I can feel it later.
I was thinking he was going to go to the store and get maybe, like if you go to Sprouts, they make fresh salads and package it right there. They make fresh sandwiches or whatever. But he out of habit, went to Taco Bell. Anyway.
Yeah, I can feel it now. You know, when you start eating right and start cheating a little bit, you can feel the...
Yeah, your body's like, why are you giving me that? You know, I want the other. I recognize that. I don't know what that is. Is it even really food? So anyway, he sipped it real small, and he was like looking at me, and I was looking at him. He took another sip. He looked at me. I was looking at him. I was ready. I didn't care if he could throw the disease in my face. It ain't gonna hurt me none. You know, I don't care. I'm not scared of none of that stuff because my body will take care of it. And so he was able to drink the whole little shot glass. And we just kept looking at each other, and he never threw it up. I said, your body recognizes what you just had and it's going to want some more. So let me go make sure I go back in the kitchen. I'll come back in about 10, 15 more minutes and give you another shot. So I just basically just worked with him one-on-one from the beginning to the end. We started off with citrus to clean out his organs, his liver, because the liver actually it actually cleanses, it uses, the liver is one of the major organs, or if not the major organ in the body that filters out toxins. And if your liver is dead and dying, if his organs were shutting down, nothing's working. So I had to do it, start there. That's why I started with the citrus. And we went from citrus juices to green juices. So the citrus is cleansing and alkalinity, and the green foods are also alkaline. So the deeper, darker, greener foods are the most alkaline. And I was juicing kale and spinach, and also adding herbs to it, like echinacea, and what else? Probably some golden seal and some other herbs that I would put in the drink, stir it up. And we went from the juices. After a few days, couple of days, we went to blending the foods, more stronger foods. I could see that he was perking up. I could see his eyes were looking better. And he started talking on the phone, so he had more energy. And then when he had enough energy to stand up, we went outside. Remember?
Right.
What did we do out there?
We just went out there and laid in the grass.
Laid in the what?
Grass.
He laid in the grass. Why? Because we are electrical beings, and the earth is electrical earth. And we have walked away from nature. And ever since man has created these shoes, these rubber shoes, so that we don't get that grounding. They ground your house, but we don't ground ourselves. We don't walk barefooted in the grass. We don't walk barefooted at the beach or the soil. We need to go outside more. Go get some dirt where everybody's afraid of dirt. Where when we were kids, we used to play in the dirt and make mud pies, and some kids would even eat the dirt, eat the pies. But the little bacteria, germs, or whatever, actually helped our bodies to develop an immunity, And if you're washing your hands and with what is it that they have you guys wiping your hands down with all day, all the time?
And sanitizer.
This hand sanitizer's chemicals. Our pores have, anything that we put in our hands goes into our skin, because our skin, that's the first layer of defense, But if we're doing this all the time and we're breathing chemicals, that's breaking us down.
Yeah,
so
you're right. Never thought about that part.
Yeah, it seemed like everything they were telling everybody to do was counterintuitive to healing. Wearing a mask,
sick.
breathing your own carbon monoxide, poisoning yourself. You're not breathing clean air. So keeping these chemicals on your hands and stuff, and breathing it, and it's just like crazy. Not getting outside, not getting in the sun. So yeah, I would put him outside and have him go, ground him. Take off your shoes and your socks and sit in the grass. And he was out there all day, just in the sun and breathing fresh air when they weren't flying chemicals and spraying. I didn't let him sit out there if they were spraying the skies. If the skies had chemtrails, we weren't going out there. But if the skies were clean, we'd go out there. And he put his feet in the grass, and he's grounding himself. And then also I'm telling you guys all this so that you'll know that there are natural healing ways out there. This guy's a living example of how he was able to get well from, instead of going into the hospital and getting chemicals and medicine pumped into your body, which all have side effects, It's like what happened with my bro, as soon as you let the doctors take over and they're practicing, it's a practice, that's why I call it a practice, he just having one thing happening to him, and they give him this medicine, and something else happened to give him this medicine, something else happened over here. when he came over and stayed with me, he took himself off of all of those medicines. I didn't know that he had done that. He told me, I'm not. I said, so what medicines are you taking? He said, I'm not taking any. I was like, you can't just, you got to wean yourself off of that stuff. You can't just stop taking it all of a sudden.
That's true.
But that scared me.
Well, you know, but once you start eating right, you start eating bad again, you can feel it in your body. Your body feel tired, like I do now. Eat that Taco Bell.
Yeah, I saw your eyes going like that a second ago.
Eat that Taco Bell.
But your body can't digest that. You know,
No,
it
it
takes a
can't.
lot of energy for your body to digest food, especially when you put stuff in there that's not real.
I felt great when I had a vegetable smoothie this morning before I went to the gym.
Did you?
Yeah,
I just made some vegetable soup.
yeah.
So
I-
it's going to be lunchtime, and it is lunchtime,
You
so
know.
I'll let you have some. That's a great big pot.
So I know to leave that stuff alone.
Don't mess with that, man.
Sometimes I get hungry.
And then your body is like, okay, we got to put this somewhere, you know, until we can figure out how to get rid of it. You know, it's got to break it down, and it takes for.
I would have been better off going to get a salad or some fruit instead of that. I didn't think Taco Bell was that bad. I guess once you start eating good, you realize what's truly bad for your system.
Did you think when you first came over here? I guess. Why did you think I was bringing you over here? You didn't think I was going to try to heal you. So what were you thinking when you came over?
Just to watch me, see if I was going to get worse or better, or
You didn't know.
just to babysit.
Yeah, the baby. That's what I thought. That's what I thought. That's not what you're here for. And so I was bringing him stuff, and he was just like looking at me and not taking it. And then something told me, I think you need to tell him what you're doing. And so every time I would bring him something, I'd tell him what was in it and what it was good for. And then he was like, I said, yeah, we're going to heal you. Did you have any idea that how bad off you were? Did you think you were going to die?
I didn't realize I was that bad off until I looked into the mirror. And you said, after you said, like I'm dying. Then I looked in the mirror, realized all my clothes was falling off me, t-shirts and everything, because I was just sitting at home in front of the television, waiting for my COVID to pass so I can go back to work. I didn't know I was looking that bad.
Wasting away.
To be honest with you, I was too weak to even get in the shower. I was just home.
Mm-hmm. I remember you were really, really weak. You could barely walk. So after some nutrition, cleaning out his organs, they're waking up and they started doing their job and filtering this stuff out. I started noticing that it was the disease was coming out of his hair, because I started seeing like scalp like stuff in his hair, and he was strong enough to go outside for a while, and so I knew he was strong enough to get in the shower. And so I had him go and take a shower, and I went out to the store and bought like a brush. You could put your finger through the ring, and it had like little scrubby things. And I gave him some stuff to scrub his hair, his scalp. I said, scrub your scalp really good, loosen up all that, those dead cells on the top of your head. He did that. And then I was thinking about how else can I pull some of this toxins out of his body. And I went to the health food store and I got a bag of seaweed. It was some seaweed that you can put in your bath that draws toxins out. So I made him a bath with the seaweed and the Epsom salt to bring this stuff out of his body. And then for his breathing, I came up with a breathing treatment, a natural breathing treatment. And what I did was I chopped up grapefruit with the quinine, right? And the citrus, lemons, limes, onions, garlic. Onion and garlic is powerful healing herb, onions, garlic. And then I also bought some eucalyptus oil. And I poured that in the pot. And before I did the eucalyptus, I brought everything to a boil and I left the peelings on, because the peelings of the grapefruit has the most quinine in the peeling. So I left all the peelings in there, and lemon peelings. I just chopped up the whole thing and put it in there. And then after it boiled brought it down to a medium boil, I think maybe a simmer, a little bit more than that, than a simmer, between medium, high, and simmer, and just let it cook down. You cook all that stuff out into the water. And then I got a potato masher, and I was mashing it up, squeezing it out of the peelings, mashed it up. And he was out there feeling better. Think you might have been on the phone or something, or maybe you were, at that time you were kind of like sitting in a chair, just like sleep. And I brought the pot, and I had a TV tray. And I put the TV tray out. I said, I made a breathing treatment for you. And then I went and got the pot. It was hot. I said, don't touch it. And I put it on the TV tray. And I had a towel on my shoulder. And I said, I need you to hold your head over the pot. And don't touch the pot because it's hot. It's boiling water. Hold your head over the pot, and just as you're breathing, just breathe the steam. And I had a towel, and I put it over his head. And so he kind of leaned on the TV tray, I guess, and just breathed it. For about, I think I had you out there for about 35 minutes, and I came back, took the towel off, and all of that stuff was just drooling out your nose. It was just like strings of mucus was just coming out of his head, into the pot. And I said, oh, wow, it's coming out of your nose, Jesse. I was like, what?
Yeah, that wasn't a pretty sight.
Yeah, but it was pretty to me. I'm seeing all this stuff coming out of your body. That was so cool. I was so happy to see that. And so I think, how often did we do the breathing treatment? Like two or three times a day.
Yeah. I can't remember. I was still out of it.
Yeah. And then I started making him, I made him a potassium broth, because I know potassium is also good for healing and strengthening the body. And I made potassium broth out of potato peelings. And boiled that, and I don't remember what else I put in there. I have to find my recipe. But I made him a potassium broth, and I think I might have put maybe some agave nectar in there to sweeten it. And it was always taste whatever I make, because I want it to be palatable, and it was pretty good. And I took it out to him, and it was, when I came back outside, it was still on the table. I said, why aren't you drinking the potassium broth? You just like looked at me. I said, why aren't you drinking it? I said, I asked you a question. And he said, because it tastes like urine. I said, it don't taste like urine. I said, give it, like, how do you know what urine tastes like?
You know what it smells like. So I figured it tastes like it smells.
Yeah. And so I took it and I sipped it. I said, no, it doesn't. I said, Jesse, stick out your tongue. Oh! So this disease was coming, this virus, whatever, was coming out of the pores of his tongue. So his tongue was coated. That's why it was tasting so nasty. Went back to the store and I got a tongue scraper. And I told him, go in the bathroom, brush your teeth, take this tongue scraper and scrape your tongue. Put some more water and you rinse your mouth, spit it out, dampen your tongue, and just scrape all of that stuff. And your pores of your tongue is, if you put it under a microscope, you'll see that it's like real, has crevices and stuff. So you just keep scraping your tongue. So when it turns from that white, yellowy white, mucusy, whatever, and it starts turning pink in your tongue and you don't have any more of that stuff, then you're done. And so I told him, make sure you scrape your tongue 2 or 3 times a day. So that stuff, his body was kicking COVID's butt. I mean, it was coming out of his scalp, it was coming out of his skin, it was coming out of his mouth, his nose, his tongue. Every pore of his body was kicking that stuff. It was like, get out of here, go. Because the lymphatic system was coming to life. And another way that you make your lymphatic system come to life is by movement. So as he was getting stronger, we started walking back and forth. That's why I won't get rid of my grass, and that's why my water bill is like $150 a month. Because of the grass, I keep it watered, keep it green. And because that's my healing backyard. I have like fountain, birds, and all this stuff. I remember my bro was, when I was healing him, I was going to put him back out in the backyard, and he was talking to one of his friends. Well, I was told, my friend said that you can get, what did he say? Parasites with your feet in the grass, maybe some birds, And I was just like, that's natural grass, dirt, worms, birds, anything. I mean, your body is going to get what it needs and expel what it doesn't need. You can't let people scare you from it. I mean, it's no matter what kind of healing modality, somebody's always going to try to talk you out of it and tell you, no, you need to go to the doctor, and let them mess you up, whatever. So we started walking around in the grass barefooted, and he had his hand on my shoulder, and I just walking here, and then we turn around and we walk back to the shed and turn around and walk. After we do like 5 reps, like 1, 2, I think it was 3 at first. 3, he was just exhausted, and I had him sit back down. And so I started, like, we do the walking like 3 times back and forth up and down the grass, and then I bring the breathing treatment because you were breathing hard. It was like, I said, this is as far as you can walk. But then again, he was just on his back at home. And so, the muscle tissues were deteriorating in his legs and everything. His strength was just gone. So we went from 3 rotations to 5 to 10 to, once we got to 10 rotations, and he wasn't breathing really hard like he was. His breathing was really good. And we started like walking outside on the street.
Yeah.
We did like a quarter of a mile and back, and then a half a mile. And then we did a mile once we got on the trail back in the back.
Right.
I said, I think you will. Go check yourself. Go get, because he's like kicking back, and he's on the phone in the backyard just kicking back, and I'm looking at him, watching him. I said, he's doing good, After he did a mile with me, I was like, you good. Go take your test and let's see what we got. And he was COVID-free.
COVID-free?
COVID-free, yeah.
Now I need to
get back on track, right?
Yeah.
You know what you need to do.
Get back on track.
So tell me what you know now about eating right, and the correlation between food, diet and health, or diet and sickness. What do you know?
I know natural eating is a lot better for your body. I can feel the difference. Like I said, I cheat every once in a while and go get something that's not too good for me, and I can feel it. Makes me feel tired, drained. After I cleanse my whole body out with all that natural food and drinks.
Didn't you say you used to work somewhere where they had the best food?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
Yeah, I went to culinary arts school in Atlanta and did an internship at a country club in Atlanta. And 95% of the setups for their parties was all raw vegetables and fruits.
I never would have thought that.
And that's what they had. That's every party, every night. 95% of the setup was.
Wow.
And only meat they had was caramelized bacon, chicken strips, and raw shrimp, raw palms, or whatever they want to call them.
Oh my gosh.
But everything was made from all natural foods. The sauce for the dip, everything was made from scratch. Nothing came out of a bag, and that's probably before this. And that's probably the best time I felt. Didn't realize it was when I was there for that time doing my internship, eating their products. But of course, when you get back out on the streets, if you're not slowing down to make your own meals, and you're not watching what you eat, you go grab that stuff, and sure enough.
Now that you mentioned, I remember when I was in California, I went down to Rodeo Drive, where all the rich people in Beverly Hills area, and I could spot the ones that were tourists and the ones that were wealthy. You know, the wealthy ones, I mean, they had glowing skin and glowing hair, and they looked happy,
Yeah.
and they looked healthy.
And that was the best I looked and felt working at that country club. I was able to cut down my workout time in half and look better because the food took to my body a lot
That's it.
different than just stopping at a burger place trying to put on the pounds.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I got to focus on eating right. COVID tried to wake me up, but I still cheat. I'm going to stop cheating because it doesn't
Yeah.
work for me. The older I
I
get,
mean, we all do. I mean, we live in a society where it's hard to eat right.
yeah,
I mean, it's
yeah.
bad food
But
all around
sometimes
you.
it's good just to stop and get some fruit.
Mm-hmm.
Then getting a burger
Yeah.
or a pizza.
And if your
Yeah.
body if you're eating mostly the right foods, you know, if you cheat every now and then, that's okay because your body's like ready, you know,
Mm-hmm.
all of your organs are healthy and strong, and they just take it right on out, you know. So I was going to ask you that question. How come you haven't stayed on the path of good nutrition when you came to the house and you just had a bag of Taco Bell and that the meat that they have at those fast food restaurants is just horrible. It's like the cheapest of the cheap, and I don't even know if half of it is real or if it's made in a lab somewhere, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. It was the closest thing on the way here. Grabbed it. Didn't think of
Force a habit, huh?
a couple of little burritos would affect me, but it has. I can feel it now.
Yeah, because if you're eating living foods, you're going to have a lot of energy,
Yeah,
right?
I can actually feel, you know. And I've been doing a lot of cooking at home, so I can tell the difference, you know.
Why do you feel that it's so hard for the average person to eat well in America? What's your thoughts on that?
Because they don't want to spend the money, and they don't think eating. They don't feel what they're eating is bad for them because they grew up in it, eating bad. So they don't think changing their eating habits would change their
That makes sense.
life
Yeah.
style. Because I know at
Until
one
they
time
do.
I didn't eat pork until I moved to Atlanta.
Really?
Yeah, I started eating pork when I got there, but when I first got to Atlanta, when I was out at a job site and took a lunch, I went to a barbecue place and I said, "Well, give me a chopped beef sandwich," and she gave me a chopped pork sandwich, and I didn't eat pork,
Ooh.
so I was able to smell the pork right before I bit in the sandwich, and I said, "This is not chopped beef." She said, "What do you mean?" I said, "It's not chopped beef." Because I know I don't eat pork. I can smell the pork because I don't eat pork. And then the cook said, "No, we don't have no chopped beef."
So they should have told you that.
Yeah, but she thought I wouldn't recognize it. She thought I'd just take the sandwich.
Wow.
But as time went on, as I spent some years in Atlanta, everywhere you went, they had ribs on the grill. They had ribs. So I bit into a rib and bit into another rib, and then I started eating pork here and there. And I got to the point that I couldn't tell the difference from pork and beef unless I actually bit into the meat
that's gross.
of a chopped beef sandwich or a chopped pork sandwich by the texture. So that mean my body had accepted pork. And I used to always talk about my family members about eating the pork. They got off pork and I got on pork.
Wow. They got off of it and you got on it.
Yeah.
That reminds me of a time when, people eat anything. I must have been about 7 years old. Remember, this was so far back in the back of my mind, it just popped up. My aunt had moved out here from Gary, Indiana, and she had an apartment. And my mom, I remember we walked up the stairs and into her apartment. She had her door open, knocked on the door, but it was open. And it her apartment smelled so bad. It's like, you know, she was in the kitchen, and I ran up to her, and I was like looking, and she was in the sink, and she had some stuff in her hands, and she was like pulling out this brown stuff, and I was just like, ugh. You know, I said, what are you doing? She said, I'm cleaning chitlins. And she knew that we didn't eat pork. So she already had an attitude. I didn't know what she was thinking or why she was acting all mean and stuff. But she's like, I'm cleaning chitlins. I said, shit. You know, I thought she said shitlins, but that's what it was, right? And I was just like, with some brown stuff. And I said, ew, what's that? And she said, get out of here. And I jumped and I ran. Go outside and play. And she never yelled at me before. I didn't know. My mom said, she said, she's just upset because of what she knows she's not supposed to be eating. I said, what is it, Mom? She says, it's chitlins, honey. I said, what's chitlins? She goes, she took me outside. She said, it's pig intestines. And the stuff that she was cleaning was poop. I said, she was eating poop. No, she was cleaning the poop, but that's the intestines. Your poop goes through the intestine. And that was like traumatic for me. I couldn't understand why anybody would want to eat that part of a pig. And after I grew up, I realized, you know, when we were coming up in the slave era, that they were throwing garbage to the slaves. They gave the slaves, their dogs, their animals ate better than their slaves did. And so the slaves, I don't know how we made it through that time, but it's like we learned how to make anything taste good, even pig intestines. And it's been passed down. You know, our traditions, the way we eat, have been passed down from generation to generation to generation to now. We are free and we have access to the best foods, and some of us are still eating the same things that was handed down to us, you know, garbage. And we don't need to eat like that anymore. We're free. So, but because we've learned how to make anything taste good, I guess they just throw some hot sauce on it and grub up. I don't know. I've never had pig intestines and never will. Unless you beat me and force me to eat it. You know? Well, I'm not eating that stuff. So we have to be, and then we wonder why we have all these diseases running rampant in our community. It's because we're still eating the same, you know, trash, garbage food that we call food, that is really not food. Real food is the food that God has designed for us to eat. Real food is living foods. Living foods that go into our living bodies. They communicate with each other, and they know what to do, and they know how to heal us. They know how to keep us well. And that's why right now, as I'm building this channel, I am showing you how to transition from cooked foods. I'm not going to show you, I'm not going to give you I'm not going to be making meat and things like that I know is going to be detrimental to your health. But the best way to eat is to eat it raw. The way, Adam and Eve, I guess, the beginning of time before we developed fire and cook the foods and kill the enzymes and things, the best way is to eat it raw. And so for right now, I'm showing you how to eat healthy cooked meals, because that's where most of us are right now. But I'm going to be going from eating, showing you more raw recipes as we go along. But I want to give you different choices, because I would not suggest that you go from eating bad to just eating all raw, because that's going to throw you into something. It's going to start detoxifying your body too fast. It's going to be pulling all the poisons out of your fat tissues into the bloodstream. You're going to be feeling sick and nauseous, and you're going to be pulling the poison out. So I would prefer to see you just like take it slow, eat a little bit at a time. As far as eating raw, and another thing, if you try to go into raw, most of us are just gonna not stick with it, because it's just too much, And then you have people around you who are not going to support you. So take your time with it. Let go of a few bad things and replace it with something good. And let go of the 10 sodas that you might be drinking a day, and replace it with some fresh juice. Make some fresh juice. If you don't make it every morning for yourself, at least maybe do it on a Sunday or something, and get acquainted with using your juicer. Get a nice good juicer and use your juicer. Get a nice good blender and make your smoothies in the morning. And just slowly transition into it. And you'll start noticing how good you're going to feel. Like my buddy Jesse was saying, he started noticing the difference from when he's eating God's food, eating real food, from when he's eating something that somebody else has prepared for you, and you don't know what they're putting in that stuff. They don't care about your health, and they're like, if you don't care about it, they don't care about it. And they're like, nobody's twisting their arm and telling them to come to us, but we're going to make sure that we're going to be putting some flavor enhancers and some chemicals in there to keep them coming back. We got to make sure they come back so they'll be addicted to it, and sugar is addictive. I'll teach you a lot, but I think we need to shut this down. I don't want to be going too long. Thank you for the interview, for sharing, your experience.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to share?
Hey, just live life to the fullest and enjoy it, and try to make sure you're on this earth without all the body pains that I've seen many of my family members go through over the last 6 or 7 years with cancer, and mainly cancer has been taking a lot of my family members out before they reached the age of 60. And early youngest was 48.
What?
So eating right is important. I've spoken to other nutritionists and doctors or family members about nutrition. People who actually beat cancer eating the right foods, that's now in their 80s and headed about 45, 50 years ago.
Oh, wow.
So because I have had so many family members pass of cancer in the last 5 or 6 years, from my mother, sister, cousins I grew up with, ex-wife who actually had it for the past 5 years. So that made me reach out to other people who actually survived it and what it took for them to survive that disease. And the ones who did survive gave great credit to nutrition, changing their eating habits, going to the dark green foods,
That's amazing.
I only can get my education from the ones that are still living. The ones who passed can't educate me, because they're no longer here to speak on it.
I was told that, in the cancer wards, they have cancer hospitals. And like I said, cancer loves sugar. And they have like chocolate chip cookies on plates, next to the beds of the people who have cancer. I'm like, why? Doesn't make sense. That's just going to make the situation worse, because cancer is going to just say, thank you very much. Like one girl, she's I think she's an acupuncturist, and she says she told someone who had cancer that, if you make she gives them, tells them to have baking soda and then put some organic maple syrup and put it in a pot and stir it up and turn it into a candy, because it'll get it hard, and after it cools down, it's like a hard piece of candy. And you pop that in your mouth and see what the baking soda is baking soda will make your body alkaline, really, immediately. And so it's kind of like a Trojan horse. And so the alkaline, because she did that with me. That's how I knew about it, because there was a brown spot in my cheek, and I went to the dentist and had them do a biopsy, and he said it's 15% that could turn into something cancerous. And that's when I jumped up and I was just going to all the natural. This is before I learned all this stuff about natural healing, and I met with her, and she was telling me how she helped this other person, and I went home and I did the same thing. I made that because, like I said, baking soda will turn your body alkaline immediately. It's like a Trojan horse, and so the organic maple syrup is not white sugar. It's a healthy sweetener, but it's still sugar, I guess, maple syrup. And so the cancer cells will go for the sugar. And as they're going for the sugar, they're also consuming the baking soda, which is alkaline, and a disease cannot live in an alkaline environment, and it helps kill the cancer cells. That was so cool.
Always something.
Yes, sir. So I want to say thank you, Jesse, for coming by and spending time with me and sharing your experience with my viewers. And that's it. I'm going to call it a day and go grab me some lunch. Would you like some of Sparkle's famous super soup?
Sure. Maybe
All right.
take the edge off.
There you go.
Of this burrito.
Okay.
Taco Bell.
I'll talk to you guys later. I love you. Always be well. Do the right thing. Love yourself. Take care of your body and heal yourself. Talk to you later.